Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Du dico Kirtan. So we Kirtan. That's right.
Hare Krishna. So, welcome all to the day when we celebrate our Pancha Tattva being here with us. I will just say a few words on why deity worship, why Pancha Tattva, and why worship of Shri Shri Pancha Tattva. I will start by reading a few words from Hari Bhakti Vilas, which has been written by Sanatana Goswami as an invocation. Having considered the necessary rituals with the saints and having jointly gathered from all the scriptures, writing truly for the delight of the blessed Vaishnavas, I take refuge in Lord Chaitanya Deva. I take refuge in Chaitanya Deva, the Master, who bestows power to Brahma and the others, who mercifully descended to give devotion for himself, and by whose grace the meaning of the subject is within one's grasp. So sometimes we wonder, like, why do we worship the deities? Why do we have a temple? Why do we keep to the rituals? And this October, we have been having annual Head Pujari Sangha, and we had been talking about this very subject of this time and place. Is this necessary to have the temples? Is it necessary to keep worship of the deities? And naturally, we were talking with the head pujari, so you can imagine that it was very important. But there are very many nice points that we have gotten there on why do we do that and what is the purpose of deity worship and temple worship. So I will mention a few things, and then I will tell you a little bit about our temple and our Pancha Tattva, and what more we can learn and what more we can gain through very specific worship of our Pancha Tattva. And I will be mostly, as Sanatana Goswami here says, taking the refuge of Lord Chaitanya and gathering this from all the scriptures and the saintly devotees whom I have taken the notes from what they were talking to us this October. So firstly, I wanted to just mention temple is, of course, here for the purpose of worship. And then many times devotees will say, yeah, but I have a deities at home, I can worship at home. And so what is the difference between worshipping in the temple and worshipping at home? Is that at home you will worship your deities for your family. So this is like a small community, and then the deity is a part of that community. And often at home, the deity will adjust to your lifestyle. Like if you're going to school, if you're working, then you will adjust, or Diti will adjust to you. You will adjust your schedule so that you can have them there, but it is not like a full-time worship. And when we look at Hari Bhakti Vilas, Krishna Kshetra Maharaj was saying that if you do everything that is said to be done in Hari Bhakti Vilas, you will have about 2 hours a day to do something else. So naturally, these things are not aimed for a normal householder who has to also be making some, income and support and being there for his family members. It is really meant for the temple worship, but we all take from it the basics, the cleanliness, the punctuality, and we try to be like imbibe that in our homes. And for that reason, temple is very helpful because it provides that shelter for everyone, for young men to experience, for young women to learn how to do that, how to have this Vaishnava Brahminical lifestyle. You learn early rising, you learn to be like on time because you are following Diti schedule. It is then that we adjust to. It is when they go up in the morning that then we come to greet them. It is when they eat that we cook for them so they can have their schedule. When they are needing to rest, we bring them to rest. So we adjust our time, and we are collectively, just like at home, we all adjust to each other. Here we have this opportunity to learn, to work together and to see Krishna in there's this picture like, there is Krishna, and then there is many universes, and in every of those universes there is another Krishna with all these pastimes. And so this is what it is. We have like a big, and then we have units of homes, which also have their deity and they also have their principles. And then we can learn how to do that, expand that. How do we work like a community? How do we work like Lord Jagannath, for example, in Jagannath Puri is said to be the Lord of the whole universe, and definitely of our earth. So that worship is meant to benefit everyone. The worship in the temple is meant to benefit the community and those who are related to the temple. The worship at home is meant to benefit spiritually and in all ways people who are living in that home. So in that way, there is like a purpose for every and all worship, but worship is very important. And another thing that has come up is the word tapasya. Sometimes we feel temple is very difficult to maintain. It's all these buildings and all this, and it becomes a burden, and we just take the word tapasya as a sacrifice. However, the word tapasya means to heat, to give out warmth, to shine, and to burn. And when we are talking about sacrifice, we are actually talking about a yagya. And you offer in the fire everything that is not good and everything that is bad and everything that is good. So in that way, you will give that which is good, that which is nice, which you value to Krishna, and he will give you threefold or tenfold, because this is how Krishna is, right? And you will give away all the things that are not very helpful. As we know, again, Hari Bhakti Vilasa, Nectar of Devotion, will list all these things that you should give up because they are not good for your spiritual life. And then things that you should take because they are good for your spiritual life. So that's the purpose of tapasya. So when we are doing the austerities, it shouldn't be like a blind austerity of, like we probably all of us have read Chaitanya Charitamrita, and we do know about the story of the young brahmachari who was hiding in Shiva Sanghan and wanted to hear the Kirtan. But then Lord Chaitanya was feeling like, something is wrong here. And then he figured out that there was this brahmachari there. And then he said, just the austerity of drinking only milk is not enough. We need devotion. And so then we will go back to the principles of why deity worship, because through deity worship, and as here actually Sanatana Goswami says, by grace of Lord Chaitanya and Krishna, the meaning of the subject is within one's grasp. So by associating with Krishna, especially by associating with Pancha Tattva, you actually start to get blessings because they are happy, you're there, you're serving them, they see you grow, and they give you those blessings, and they slowly help you reveal the secrets of the Shastras. You start to understand them, you start to imbibe those characteristics that are very good of a Vaishnava, And it can take time. I mean, we are not saying I will become perfect immediately. Some already are. But the point is that we practice, and by having that, we gain this knowledge, we gain the devotion. I will read here a few sentences on that from particularly Kripa Mahaprabhu, who says that puja, being active, gives variety of services. It provides you with the object of your endeavors, that it's visible in front of you. So it helps, like, for example, when you are chanting, it is complementing you, that you also know why you are chanting. Or if you are doing a service, it can become very dry. Like, oh, now I have to clean this again, or oh, this is so boring, every day I'm doing the same thing. But when you have Krishna, when you have that relationship, this is a person there in front of you, then there is this visibility of the object, and there is a purpose that is much easier, right? We like to have relationships. We don't usually like to just sit in a complete darkness. So in that way, Krishna gives back, Krishna starts giving you small hints through other devotees, through Guru. There are obviously other elements in this whole picture. But through that worship, Krishna is satisfied, and then all the other things fall in place. Then Kripa Mahaprabhu says that ritual facilitates experience. So by doing it, you learn things. I was recently talking to someone, not really sure, never mind. And I was thinking, what did I all learn by living and serving in the temple, especially for the years when I was a brahmacharini? And like, I have learned how to cook, I have learned how to clean, I have learned how to iron, how to sew, how to take care of the flowers, even how to take care of the cows and what to do with the milk, and, fix some little things. And you learn the scriptures, you learn how to deal with devotees. I think I have met devotees from all the continents except Antarctica, but the populated ones. And then you learn different cultures, and then you kind of learn a lot of things just by actually practicing and experiencing. So experience is very important. And if you are just sitting at home and chanting, it can be nice, it can be good, but you might not grow. And the idea is we really want to grow in the spiritual life. We want to, at the end of this life, or, however many that it takes, we want to go back home, back to Krishna. And in order to be prepared for that, we need to learn things. We need to learn to cooperate. We need to learn how to be supportive, how to, encourage other devotees. There is so many things that we need to learn. And that we do by working together. Both, of course, again, that can also happen in the family, of course, that by worshipping, by having Krishna in the center, you will learn these things too. But in the temple, you have a bigger group where maybe not, and I will get back to that when we come to Pancha. And then he also mentions beyond the understanding, there is also creativity. And one thing is that puja, the worship, also attracts prosperity. Sometimes we're like, okay, I don't really know how this will work out. And then somehow it does work out because Krishna takes care. I used to work, and I'm quite certain everyone who works in with the economy for the deities knows that sometimes you have no idea how we will pay these bills. And then suddenly, donation comes, or somebody just shows up and fixes it, and things work. And the more you give, this is the principle of sacrifice, right? This is why all these Vedic sacrifices were there. They would sacrifice things that were kind of old cow, for example, and then you have a new young cow come out of there. And all these sacrifices are actually, purpose of it is to renew. By giving, you take, you get back. And like a principle of temple and principles of Vaishnavas is that when you are given, you will give. Like normally when we get things in the temple, it's not like, oh, now I will take it and I will take it into my room. We offer it to Krishna, and then we distribute it to everyone. We get bhoga to the kitchen, and then it is nicely cooked, it is offered to Krishna, and then we distribute to everyone. If we can, when we have enough devotees. We right now have this enthusiastic Bhadravardhana Prabhu. He makes every week these little sweets, and he goes and distributes in Harinam, because this is the nature of devotee. You know, you actually want to give. You want to give the food, you want to give the support, you want to give highest knowledge ultimately, you want to give Krishna to everybody. So this is kind of a exchange there. And then he also, of course, says puja is for everyone. But the main point he's saying is that puja is process for awakening devotion. And I think it also being a Prasadam said that in the deity worship, more than 50% of these limbs of bhakti are there daily. So just by the worship, you have kind of done quite a lot in order to awaken this devotion, to come to the point of focusing the intention, like we were talking, that, okay, this is what I'm doing, right? Here I am in order to learn, in order to grow, in order to serve. And then he again says that this is the highest service because it destroys the impersonalism and awakens attraction. And sometimes, I don't know about you, but it has happened that devotees come and they are really, really, really tired because they are sitting somewhere and they are really not having much contact with devotees. And they come here and they are completely in ecstasy because they can have that contact with devotees, they can see the deities, they can do the service, and it really very much encourages them. So one of the purposes of temple is that we can actually give that possibility for devotees or people who are not yet having that experience, who have not yet come to that point. We give them association, we give them opportunity to serve, and we inspire them. It is absolutely necessary to be in a sadhu sangha in order to do that. And then we are coming again to the point that our Pancha Tattva, they are sadhus. They have lived that lifestyle in order to teach us how to do that. So this is another reason why Pancha Tattva. They lived, each and one of them, as a devotee. Even Lord Chaitanya, I mean, we all know that, right? And the final point here, which in this regard of why the temple and why the worship, Bimla Prasad Prabhu points out, of course, that when we are new devotees, what we don't do, like he says, what is it that Kanishta Adhikari does not do? Is there anyone here who knows what is it that Kanishta Adhikari does not do? He does not, yes?
Appreciate the devotees.
Exactly. Thank you. He does not appreciate devotees. This is the one thing Kanishta Adhikari doesn't do. So what does he do?
He is attached to the deities.
Yes, thank Krishna. Exactly. So this is why the temple and the deity worship are important, and why it is important to do it together. Because we do have all this, like, critique, and I don't like this, and I wouldn't have done it this way, or, whatever comes. But ultimately, by doing this, by practicing, and then practicing together, receiving the blessings, getting all these other things that we were reading, Kripa Moya Prabhu was pointing out, we overcome, and then we grow, and then we come over that Kanishta Adhikari attitude. Sometimes, of course, we expect pujaris to be like supreme, impeccable character, but many of us are kanishtas, and we need to learn to admit that to ourselves and to respect that, yeah, okay, pujaris are not always perfect. And that will, as I said again, not really happen if we don't have that experience of coming together and being together and practicing together. So for the purpose of teaching and for the purpose of this communal deity worship, this is why we have temples, and this is why we actually do the worship. And now I will take a little bit time to mention our Pancha Tattva, their installation, and why and what we can learn from the Pancha Tattva. So the Pancha Tattva was actually not originally Pancha Tattva here on Alvik. And we had Gauranitai deities, the Gauranitai deities that are part of Pancha Tattva. They had been in the house that is now Nataraja's family lives in. Top floor was the temple room, and this was the altar. Prabhupada's altar used to be the altar in which Gauri and I were situated. And then there was this idea that, okay, now we have Gandharviki Giridhari. There are different reasons why they decided to have Panchatattva. But then they were like, okay, we will go and we will install the Panchatattva. And they did that on Shashti, that is a double 6th day it was at that time. But we count the 6th day of the waning moon in the month of Kartik. So when the moon is kind of going toward the new moon, then after that comes Samavasya. That's the date when our Panchatattva was. You don't hear? Okay, sorry. Thank you. When the Panchatattva was installed on that very day. And then we had some years because Harikesh Prabhu was having his Vyasa Puja sometimes here, and they had like kind of a little bit switched. So we would sometimes celebrate it later on. But this is the real day, and if anyone is a little bit uncertain, tomorrow is the day of Narottam Das Thakur's disappearance day. So the day before Narottam Das Thakur's disappearance day is the date when we celebrate our Panchatattva coming to us. And so they then ordered Advaita Nityananda and Advaita Gadadhar and Srivas, and it was a Kanga and Kalya that brought them to in a little, like a bag. They didn't declare them, they were just like carrying them. They are not very easy, they are not that light. They're not super heavy, but they are not that light. And they were just like walking, through like, there's no problem, this is super light. So they brought them into the country like that. They didn't like ship them or anything, they just brought them with them in the airplane. And so they were preparing this whole temple room here. It was, as you know, this used to be a barn, so they were finishing the floor, I think like a day before or something. And then it was the time, and then they had installed them on the altar. And since then, there were like little differences in the worship and how it was done originally and how we are doing it now. So there were some like ups and downs and learning, but we settled to this standard, I think, around 2000 something, about 20 years at least. It is pretty steady. In the beginning, they used to be the Mangala Aarti sweets. We used to have sweets offered in the morning. And we also used to put the deities to rest in the afternoon and then wake them up with a fruit offering. And that the children who were going to Gurukul, they would get that fruit offering because they were going early to bed. So they were never here in the evening. They were like 5, 6, when did you go to something like that? Yeah. So they went to bed early, and that's the day, because then they were coming to Mangalarti, of course.
Wake up at 3.
Yeah, exactly. So that made sense. But this was, of course, also because this is like a normal standard. We are following, as I mentioned in the beginning, there is this book on Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, and there is a schedule of his daily activities. And there he's taking a little nap in the afternoon. So that's why we had that. But there were different changes, and around 1999 or something, then there was a little bit of Mangalarti went a little bit later, I think 15 minutes or something, we had moved it. And then we had removed this Mangalarti suite, and then we removed this afternoon. We are still having a higher, like a standard than the recommended standard for Gornitai, because Gornitai don't have such a like heavy, like for normal small temples. So we are somewhere there in between with our stuff, but we have been quite stable with it. And it kind of works, and we are recommended to keep it. So we hope you young people are our hope that this will happen. And so now about Panchatattva and why Panchatattva, and that's maybe a part that is most to say about, and that I kind of have much to say about. When Lord Chaitanya left this world, As you might know, Lord Chaitanya, Nityananda, and Advaita, they all had their own followers and their own groups. And they all believed that Lord Chaitanya for his group, Lord Nityananda for his group, and Lord Advaita for his group, that he is the God. And therefore they were starting to kind of not really get fully, together. And in order to handle that, it was Janavamata who spoke to Narada, who will then have tomorrow his appearance day in Srinivas. And they had arranged, and Narada arranged this festival in Keturi. And Krishnadas Kaviraj then wrote Chaitanya Charitamrita in order to establish the fullness of the whole Pancha Tattva. So they are these different elements of their nature and the way of how we approach things. Like we all have different gurus, but we are all still under the umbrella of Srila Prabhupada and ISKCON. And so sometimes some gurus have this mood that they are more interested in Harinam or in Sankirtan or in, like distributing books or singing mostly or deity worship, or they are like, yes, we shall read and translate and stuff like that. And something like that has been there. It's not like they have been enemies or something, but it was just a little bit like unclear. How do we now do this? What do we do? And so that was their solution, to recognize them all as equal. And in that, to remember and emphasize Lord Chaitanya's idea of the unity in diversity. And so we know that Lord Chaitanya was very strict in how he was handling devotees. We know that Lord Nityananda was very magnanimous and very easy and very, And the Advaita, for example, Advaita Acharya, he was Acharya. He was very, first of all, he was older. He was very respected. He has been very much into the rituals, into the proper things, into the worship. So each of them had that little an angle of what they were interested in and how they would do that. And for example, Advaita Acharya criticized. But the pastime when he is telling to Srivas Thakur that why are you letting this bohemian Nityananda come here and eat here? Like, what is this? Look how he is behaving. And that is an example of how sometimes we do have, we have this this is how things should be, right? It has to be all strict and all very correct. And then you have someone who's like, oh, but devotional life is all just, let's have fun and just sing and don't worry. And then you have people who are very oh, but we have to be nice and humble. So for example, Srivas Thakur. So each of them, like Gadadhar Pandit again, he was very focused on Lord Chaitanya, and that was his primary focus. And he was a very strict brahmachari, and he was into reading Shastras. Srivas Thakur was an ideal householder, ideal devotee. How do you live at home? How do he wasn't living in a temple, he wasn't a brahmachari, he wasn't in that way steered, but he was again entirely surrendered. He was like, I depend on you. If, I don't get food, I don't get food, but I completely trust that things will work out. So they are these very different personalities. They lived in a village, there is a lot of other devotees around, and they had their own little groups. But there is this development of how do we live together. We are all having different natures, even in our community and in ISKCON at large. Sometimes if you end up like young devotees, you will, and we all did, end up hearing, oh, why is this person behaving like this and why is that person behaving like that? Because we are different people. But then there is this element of, is this within a principle of Krishna consciousness, and how do you defend it and how do you explain it, and where is the reference from the Shastra and the Guru and devotees, and you sit down and you talk it through, and this is a very important part that we can definitely learn. And I would say one of the great reasons why to worship Pancha Tattva, because they offer that ability of working together and giving that blessing that yes, we are different, but we shall respect each other in that difference. And again, by worshiping the deities and actually spending time with them, we do get purified. We do get, like Sanatana Goswami says, that by their grace, the meaning of the subject is within one's grasp. So go there, serve them, ask for the blessings, ask for knowledge, ask for guidance. That is why deities are there for. Like Krishna Chaitanya Maharaj always says, if you are uncertain about something, if you need something, go and tell them. There is like, this is Paramatma, they know everything, they can help you. They will give you an answer, they will resolve the situation. If you are happy, go and tell them. Always gratitude is very, very important. When you have received something, when you have received the answer, remember where it comes from, right? From me comes knowledge, remembrance, that's Bhagavad Gita. So this can be put in practice very much with the deity worship, also at home. There is no doubt that you can do that with your own home deities. You don't have to come to Panchatattva for that. But when you live in a community and when you have that opportunity, then you can do that. You can come to Panchatattva and you can ask them. And that particular combination of all these elements and all this knowledge and all these blessings that are there, like you all know, of course, Panchatattva mantra, and you know who's who there. But there is like such depth in all their personalities. We have Lord Chaitanya, who is a God himself. And at the same time, he is embodiment of that attitude of Srimati Radharani, of that love that we are all worshipping. And that aim, that goal, Vaishnava culture is to please Krishna, and he embodies it. So he can give you that knowledge, that procedure of how to get there, that blessing. And we have Nityananda, who is also at the same time Guru. And that is, again, a part of our culture. And it gives you that knowledge that, yes, without the Guru, I can only get to a certain degree. But when you do have a Guru, you again have a person who gives you that blessing. So if there is any problem, if one doesn't have a Guru, Lord Nityananda is a good person to turn to give you the guidance until he manifests that Guru for you. So again, a personality here that you can serve, that you can please. And gurus are often pleased by us doing some nice service and being nice and humble to other devotees. There are so many things you can do to satisfy Lord Nityananda. He's, I wouldn't say easy to please, but he can be pleased. And when he is, then he gives you nice blessings. And Advaita is also Paramatma. So often when we do not know something, again, you can turn to Lord Advaita, because often devotees ask me, like, what do I ask and what do I pray and whom do I pray? So that's why we are now talking about this. Then you have Sri Advaita Acharya here and all those blessings, all that knowledge, also in deity worship. Because he has been always worshipping the Shilas. We know by worship of his Shila, he has summoned, as we would say, Lord Chaitanya to come. So that again is a lesson we can learn. That by worship, by pleasing God, then obviously he's not asking for just some material thing. He's asking for please come and please save this world. And this should be also our prayer. Because ultimately, most of our miseries, most of our difficulties, most of our problems with other people come because we lack Krishna consciousness altogether. When somebody is miserable and giving you misery, it is often because they are just unhappy. They are sad, they are lost, and they don't know it. So the best thing to do is to pray for them, to pray that they will gain that which they need so that they can actually turn to Krishna consciousness and they can get that highest bliss and knowledge. And when you do put Krishna in middle, everything works. And we often see that for the festivals, that things just manifest. Everybody gets, completely in ecstasy, and oh, we didn't really know how this will work, and something is broken and it doesn't work. It's like, oh no, this will never work. I remember in 1 year, I don't remember, 20 years ago maybe, we had this bathing table that we were using today. And it has been kept somewhere. I really don't remember where. And somehow this top part in which you put Pancha Tattva was gone. And just gone. There is like 2 hours before the Abhsek and there is no peace anywhere. And everybody's running around and it's like, oh, maybe we can put some good peace and maybe we can do that. And then suddenly, like 1 hour before, Dhruva Prabhu comes. He has found it somewhere in the barn. It just, but it was there. And then just in time. It was not like, it was just when it was supposed to happen, it happened. And it just comes. And Paramatma somehow told him, go and look there, like, in the barn, why, But somehow it ended up there because, I think somebody was cleaning or something and maybe they got separated and they didn't know what it was. And then they probably put it with some kitchen stuff or something that was being stored somewhere. Anyhow, it showed up. So with the festivals, it is a little bit like that. The impossible becomes possible. The relationships, everybody is in ecstasy. I don't know if you have put your head through the door in the kitchen, but everybody has been cooking, everybody is in ecstasy, they are rolling, for samosa things and all kind of stuff. And it's just all fun. They are listening to the music, they are singing. But Tony just goes and washes all the dishes, no problem, And sometimes we have days when it's like, oh, who will do this? And we really don't know. But usually Krishna always sends someone at the end. Sometimes they just also want us to surrender a little bit, like that tapas. Put that into the fire, do that little endeavor. And that is, for example, something that Gadadhar and the Shivas are very expert in, especially Gadadhar. So again, in deity worship, Gadadhar is excellent example of how to worship, how to be correct at all ways, how to be like, real proper, as in his case, brahmacharini, wherever you are, like really do it nicely, really do it properly with this single pointed mind to Krishna, that this is actually what it has to be. This is what I want to do. This is my whole goal. And again, that is something that at home, when we're talking about worship of Pancha Tattva, you can't always do that. So if you want to get that opportunity to practice, then living in the temple for a while is giving you that possibility because you really are just there for Krishna. Everything you do, everything that needs to be done, we need to clean the floor. This is actually the extension of floor balana. All the paraphernalia that is there for worship of the gods, so temple too, is extension of floor balana. So you clean the floor, you can meditate that, oh, I am actually doing Abhsek of Lord Nityananda. And then, oh, okay, you are immediately connected to God and you immediately get that blessing and immediately, you feel better. You feel like I'm actually doing service. And then you can start thinking about Nityananda, you can offer prayers, you can chant, that one can always do. If you don't know what prayers or whatever, you can always chant. And immediately you're feeling lighter, you're feeling happier. I think everybody has experienced that. I hardly need to tell you that. But when I was in the early years here as a brahmacharini, I would sometimes get mental. We all know, Kanishta decides. That's me. And, you go and then you go like, okay, now it's time to just go and chant. Put all the mind and everything aside because, this is not going to help me. So just take a japa and just walk from Alvik. Before I come out to the big road, and that's, I don't remember, maybe 8 rounds or something like that, the world is completely different. You have heard the mantra, you have, pacified the mind, all this, like it is controlled there, and like, oh yeah, And then you eagerly come back to take back the service, whatever is there to be done, and it like refreshes you. And that's what we all know, that chanting and reading go hand in hand with practice. If you just chant and just read, then you are not putting things in practice. And if you are just doing the service without actually chanting and reading, then you don't really know what you are doing. And sooner or later you lose the balance there also. It becomes automatic, or you become like despondent and I don't really feel like doing it. Why am I here? This is too much. I'm just working. So this is very important. Chant, read, do service, and then associate with devotees, because by that you will get kind of like a feedback of where am I and what am I doing right and what am I doing well. This is how it is talked to us. Obviously, they are not gonna, they are using devotees to give us messages, to teach us, to give us feedback of our services and to help us grow. And so she was, as I mentioned, as an ideal householder. Many times we have talked about it with different devotees who have here, that this is one of feelings that many devotees say. It's like in our temple, a little bit of a Shiva Sangha. Like that's where all the Pancha Tattva comes together, and then they greet all the devotees, and then they have Kirtan, and then, they read and they chant, and we have all these householders here around. It's like an ideal meditation for us to think that yes, there is Mayapur, that's how they lived, and then they would get together, they would work, they would do their things, and then in the evenings they would come to Shiva Samyan and they would sing and they would all meditate and they would be there. So all these possibilities are there, that we can chant, we can learn, we can have the experience of just focusing on the deities and just focusing on Krishna and just working together, being on the classes without any worry of, oh, I need to work and I need to, take care of my children or something. But at the same time, we can grow as householders, because most of the devotees in Lord Chaitanya's family were also householders. They were not living in the temple. They were living at home, they were earning their money, but they were still coming together. And for that, also for that purpose, that is why we have this temple and why it is so very nice and practical to have Pancha Tattva, because they have that mood, that blessing of community coming together and singing together and studying together and being together and meditating together. And they have those personalities who they naturally may gravitate to, depending on their own personality. But they will always be reminded that yes, but even if they are a little different, this is my friend, this is my associate. Just because he's Lord Nityananda and he's Lord Chaitanya, it doesn't mean that you can criticize the mood of Lord Nityananda. Or, as I said, even Advaita was mainly joking about it, and there was a point being made there so that we would actually recognize that yes, sometimes we may make a mistake in our Kanishta neophyte mood, that we think that, what is this person? Never does anything, goes to strange places and like that. But we don't know. There is the heart, and if you see that they are actually coming to the Kirtan, or they are chanting, or they are doing service, depending on their, mood, talk to people who know them, talk maybe to people who have that mood, who are compatible, and try to learn and try to recognize, or don't, if it doesn't, work, if this is not the right time. Just remember that they are different moods and they are different personalities. But we are all there to develop this unity and diversity. And this is kind of like the most, how shall I say, important part, the unity and diversity, because we are a personal movement, which means that we have lots of personal and interpersonal experiences. And this is where we have the difficulties, and this is why Srila Prabhupada said that your love for me will be shown by how we cooperate. So if and when we get to that moment, a little insecurity, there is Pancha Tattva, we just go and pray to them. They are experts. They know how to deal with these things. And we it's less important. We focus on the togetherness and on the fact that we are all trying to get forward. And if there is a problem, we pray to them so that is happy, that they can make them, closer to them. This is the movement, Chaitanya, give Krishna consciousness to everyone. If they are happy, it's because they are lacking Krishna consciousness. And if we can't do it, then we stay. Sweden, Scandinavia, sometimes we think that, oh, they are not really there, but maybe and possibly that's why we have Panchatattva, because they are there for all this fallen and imperfect and whatever, they can still give the holy name and we can still give Prasadam. Prasadam and chanting. Then everything will be solved. Hare Krishna. This was all I had to say today. So if anyone has questions, comments, wants to share more about Panchatattva, Installation Day, Panchatattva, something. Yes, please.
Yeah, I had this question now. Shiva Thakur, is he a Vishnu Tattva or is he Jiva or?
Jiva, yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes, but at the same time, there is, you do know Panchatattva Makam Krishna Bhaktarupa Swarupam Madhve. So he is a pure devotee, but as a such pure devotee, I think Bhaktivinoda Thakur, now I haven't, don't take me for 100, but in his Gita Mala, where he's talking about Shiva Thakur, when his son has left the body, then he's glorifying Shiva Thakur, and then he explains that by being perfect devotee, he's basically kind of equal to in the power and the ability to bless others and to give them the Krishna consciousness. And so in that regard, it is considered, and we worship him as God. And that is how they have been established, and this was the purpose of Chaitanya Charitamrita, and it was written in that mood to kind of explain this, that this unity of different personalities and different types, even a devotee becomes saintly. You aren't God, but you become a saintly by following perfectly and by being dear to God. And then by that way you have that ability, like they say, that the devotee can give you Krishna. Right? Nothing can buy Krishna, nothing can move Krishna, but the love can. So such a devotee can give Krishna to others. And in that way, then he becomes elevated to that level that we worship him like God, just like we worship Guru like God. If that makes sense. Yes, please.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We make a little different. We don't offer tulsi leaves to his lotus feet because it's not Vishnu Tattva. But it's also ordinary. It's murder. But together, Panchatattva, that's an incarnation of Krishna, all of them together, but they are still their own individual. Gadadhar is not Vishnu Tattva, he's Shakti Tattva.
Yeah. Yeah. But in that incarnation of Panchatattva, then they become worshipped like that. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
More? Yes?
I have difficulty to call deities Pancha Tattva. It sounds for me too philosophical, like when we say Gauranita, there are names, Radha, Krishna, Jagannath, and then it is a little bit missing for me. And, I'm just telling, I don't know what is the question. How to resolve it, maybe.
In the name, maybe it's a little difficult, but I think by knowing them, by kind of just remembering who they are, as I was listing all these different, just a small, tiny point of their personalities and like that, like meditating on who they are and how different they are in like, their moods and what you can kind of, how can you connect and how you can expand their being and their teachings and their relationships. I think it helps to understand that the purpose of it is, as I was mentioning, that they've established a unity. Because this is the purpose of Pancha Tattva. They were like put into that form, into that term, as I was saying in the beginning, by Krishnadas Kaviraj in Chaitanya Charitamrita for the purpose of unity. So, of course, they are still individuals. So I would, since you are a very personal person and you like that, I would just go with, talk about those that you want to talk. Then maybe mean that there is something about Gauritai, go with Gauritai. It's Advaita, talk about Advaita and Gadadhar. Then I think that kind of helps, but we can't change the name. It is given. Yes.
You have, of course, oh, sorry.
Yeah, it was the name Panchatattva actually established by Krishnadas Kaviraj first? How they were speaking about.
During that time, yes, I'm not 100% sure if it was him who coined the name. Now, don't hold me to that. But it was during that period that they were working. It was some years ago, like 6-7 years ago, that I read when I was actually studying it rather than we were looking into these things. So I don't exactly remember every single detail. But
So it wasn't maybe on the first Gurkhundi that they.
yes, at Keturi, yes. That was kind of combined together. He was asked to write the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and they had been having like dialogues and discussions. Yes, exactly.
So that's maybe.
Yes, where this came from, exactly. So I don't think that it was him personally, but more like a collective work. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
No, I just wanted to say to you, question. You don't want to say Panchatattva, you have to look at that one. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, Srivas, they're all there. And also the Panchatattva Bhaktan Krishna, Bhakta Vipasvarupa Bhaktan, Bhakta Vatsala, Bhakta Mami, Bhakta Shakti.
It's also close.
That's
That is philosophical, but the names, that's just the names. Yeah, and even Prabhupada says when you chant the Panchatattva mantra, it's even more powerful than the Hare Krishna mantra. And then someone said, but then we should chant that. And said, no, the instruction is to chant the Hare Krishna mantra, but you start with the Panchatattva mantra because that gives the whole. I mean, they will empower us so we can chant Hare Krishna, we can come closer to Krishna, because that's what they like to do.
Go with them, connect as a persons. But we are different. Some like the philosophical aspects, and so. Any gentlemen?
How long was the installation?
How long?
Yeah. How long did it take?
Oh. Do you remember?
I don't remember. We were just here. I don't remember.
Lava did fail, no?
There is somewhere recorded and like that. We are actually working on it, Yugindra Prabhu and myself, and he has started also collecting some, and I'm trying to get some people who have memory before it all goes, by the Kali Yuga memory, so that we can, the installation itself was there today, just like Gandharvika Giridhari were installed, like the process, but they were preparations, they were, as I was saying, they were like, fixing the floor the last day and stuff like that, and still everything was a little bit unfinished in the back and stuff like that. But the process in installation, yes, it takes a couple of hours to you might find actually installation, for example, of Mayapur Panchatattva. I think that's not that old, so there might be some video of that procedure. So it isn't like very elaborate in itself, but there are all these like other elements and preparation, just like weddings, there is a wedding day and then there is all these other days that people do something. So, but I don't think it was overly, at that time we didn't yet have all the knowledge, and now there are all these books and everybody is doing research on this part and that, now we are gaining much more knowledge, but at that time we didn't really have so much.
I want to invite you on Thursdays. We asked Mukunda Prabhu. He started showing us historical videos. He's prepared
Right.
presentations, and now we ask him to show about our Almix history. It's on Thursdays, 5:45. Please welcome who is interested. And how dear Mukunda Prabhu is so artistically presenting it. Big pleasure.
Hare Krishna. Now there will be Gora Aarti, so I would advise that we rearrange. Yes?
I would also say that it's not that we didn't have, Prabhupada trained up the first Pujaris, Shilavati, all these.
No, that was not what I meant. I just meant like for all these other elaborated Vedic yagyas and things like that. That's what obviously we had knowledge in how to do it.
Yeah.
That is
They
not.
were just go to this extension, follow like.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you all. Hare Krishna. Same for Pancha Tattva.
Jag inte ha med allt. Men jag skulle vilja prata om
Och sen det fick jag, det var ju väldigt roligt. Tror jag för.
Har du medstämt? Nej, inte alltid. Men jag tror att just den biten har jag just
Jag ska lägga en...
Namishwaram Satchit Aనందరూపం Tattva Soda Vinyolo Pala Apaman Param Rishamatyam Tadunujanoya Soda Vinyolo Pala
We read every day one verse, or translation of one verse of the 8 verses here. So today is the 5th verse. O Lord, your lotus face, which is encircled by locks of soft black hair tinged with red, is kissed again and again by Mother Yashoda, and your lips are reddish like the Bimba fruit. May this beautiful vision of your lotus face be ever manifested in my heart. Thousands and thousands of other benedictions are of no use to me. Siddhambuddha ki jai, Siddhamata ki jai, Pancha Tattva ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Premananda.
Namaste Narasingaya. Dala,